Hey entrepreneurs, did you catch this Monday's meeting? As we mentioned, we have lots of exciting stuff brewing behind the scenes and can't wait to tell you all about it. And that's why I want to make sure to remind you to please mark your calendars for Monday, May 2nd, 2022, to join us at 10 a.m. Eastern for our live event led by our very own CEO, Eric Salgado. And you know what's even more amazing is that it's just the beginning of what you can expect in 2022. So be sure to attend. No software updates to tell you about this week, but there are plenty of other reasons to get excited, including this week's daily live training happening Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern from Insider Builderall University. Check out this schedule and be sure to take part in some in-depth training on how to get started in building your business with Builderall. If you don't get to ask any questions live, remember to join Jackie DeClerc on Fridays at 9 a.m. for her opened live Q&A. Now, on to an announcement regarding Tuesday night training. At the moment, we'll be taking a pause to refocus our attention on bringing you even more in-depth daily training where you can get your daily dose of knowledge upgrades on tools and strategy training inside Builderall University. So stick around for that. All right, now on to a great share from a warm-hearted entrepreneur, husband, and an amazing father who's using Builderall to build his business. Michael Callas stops by to share some cool tips and strategies behind the importance of building your network. You have to check this out. Now, as I mentioned earlier, community members have joined us here to share how they are building their business with Builderall, and here today to share his experience in attracting leads and businesses through network and public speaking is an experienced entrepreneur and business owner, phenomenal guy, Mr. Mike Callas. Mike, it's all yours, Mike. Welcome.
Thank you, Frank. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll jump straight in because there's not a lot of time. So I'm going to begin with sharing some slides I've done before in other presentations that I do. And I've just taken bits out of there. And the reason why I've done that is because this actually helps explain what I'm talking about, how you can actually become extraordinary through networking. You can build leads, create great connections, and get amazing opportunities in your life by just doing that. And I'll give you a few examples of that. So I'm going to share my slides just now, and I'll go through that with you. So I have my own program. Let me just move this thing is in the way. I have my own program called the Magnetic Profit Funnels. And I have my own system, a wheel that I use within this. And this is it here on the right-hand side. It's a 34 deep level system that goes over 12 weeks that I train people on. And I wanted to give a small part of this on how you can use this within networking and why it's really important, why you need a system, why it's really important for you to actually have a strategy when you're doing this, not just sort of like, willy-nilly, hey, can I speak at your gig kind of thing. You need to have a strategy. So by having a strategy, you can attract leads, create business, etc. through networking and networking alone. Builderall's an amazing tool. It's a great system and that, but a lot of my business comes from serving businesses. It comes from consultancy. It's not just creating funnels. It comes from a whole other angle of areas that you can do. And by being that leader in your niche, you can actually command good money from that, but also good respect and great opportunities in your career. So I'm just going to go through a few little things and why I've always been into marketing my whole life, but why it's really important. You need to ask these questions for yourself. First of all, before you do anything, you want to ask these key questions because you've got to understand why people might want to work with you or not. So you have to reevaluate this constantly every month. So why would someone want to invest with me? It could be because you're experienced. It could be because you're inexperienced, but you've got passion and you've got drive. It could be, why would they want your services? Because they like your style. Maybe they like your consistency. How can you be of value to them, not the other way around? So that could be many different ways. That could be you could help them automate their business using Builderall. It could be you can help them compound all their tools into one tool and save a lot of money on a recurring basis. So you've got to share how you can be of a quality service to these people. And that's what you can put in your advertising, your networking, your speeches, or even your funnels. So always ask yourself these key questions and keep coming back to them, because you have to reevaluate it. These things change over time. So you can, once you figure out the answers to these, and everyone's got an answer to these, you can actually create a path for you, a strategy for you to move forward. So for me, I had a life event, and I think it's really important to share this. We all need a why. But for me, I've always been into marketing my whole life. I was headhunted from university to work for the BBC in London, the British Broadcasting, can't even talk. And basically, cut a long story short, I used to work on Top Gear websites, on the BBC News websites, etc., creating websites and stuff for them, but also creating interactive games online. We were talking over 20 years ago, and eventually I set up my own. I wanted to set my own business up, so I moved out of London. I moved into the more countryside where I'd like to breathe fresh air and drive my own car without traffic. And I found that a situation hit me really hard after I met my wife and we had children. And on my second child, my son was born completely healthy and left severely disabled. He's been left blind, deaf, spastic cerebral palsy, with he's non-verbal. So he's literally just got taste and touch left. And it was a big hit for us. So my why was to help my family. But I want to give you another reason why this impacted my business. Because you've got to bear in mind, I'm setting up my own business. I've left the BBC. I've created this new entity. And then all of a sudden, I'm stuck in hospital for many, many months whilst my son died and was resuscitated and lost everything. But what kept me going was a system I had in place. I didn't even have perfectly in place. I didn't have Builderall back then. I had leads coming in naturally. They'll magnetically come in through little seeds that you drop throughout your business. And I realized then the power of marketing, how it's important to create automation systems, create things that you can actually automate, like the booking system you've got in Builderall, that can keep flow and things come through. And what I did at the time whilst I was stuck in hospital is I got the leads coming in and I shared them with other people that could do the work for me. I had a small cut out of it, but it kept me afloat. It kept me going whilst I was dealing with my severe situation. So I just want to give you a real life reason why you should have this stuff set up. It's really important, and it can happen to anyone. You could have the perfect life. These things can happen, but having a good why is really important. And your why could be, I just want a nice car. Your why could be, you want to do things for your family. It could be because you want to make the world a better place and help people become independent. It could be anything, but a good why is really important to keep you going. So obviously I'm punching way above my weight. There's my wife and there's my 3 kids. Those are my whys, and I just want to explain to you about the hurdles and why it doesn't matter. There will always be hurdles, and the situation will always better, improve if you keep at it. You've got to keep positive. You've got to keep strong, and you'll have this in when you're doing funnels and you're creating, things out there for yourself and your business. Maybe the launch doesn't go well, or some systems don't work correctly, or something happens, or the internet's down. There's always another launch. It's another conversation for a relaunch. There's always a purpose, a reason for this happening. And I personally think, in life, and that's my favorite saying, by the way, life is not always a matter of holding good cards, but sometimes playing a poor hand well. So these situations could be used in your benefit. And I'll give you an example of this. Say someone does an email error, and they're doing a campaign, an email error. Doing another email out there and saying, oops, sorry, I had the mistake, the date was a mistake. It's re-engaging people in email marketing, but that can actually, there's email marketers that use that tactic as a deliberate tactic to send out a separate email because they miss people at certain times, etc. So, things like this can actually help you. You can use them, these hurdles, to help you get above. I'm also a best-selling author, and the reason why I'm putting this out there is because I'm dyslexic. And like I said, with your why, you can actually achieve anything. And I remember promoting my book using Builderall systems and tools. So my funnel was promoted through Builderall, and I truly believe that's why I got it's actually international bestseller #1 on that in that field. This is about nothing to do with marketing. It's about embracing your struggle to find your strength, about what happened to my son, and finding your why, and finding God in my and that's for me, that's really important. So I want to talk to you about my system, and it's a system that relates into how you can utilize networking to really help you. And I broke the system into several areas. There's 8 modules, but each acronym, so you've got manage costs, The C, the O, the S, the T are acronyms for other words. And I'm picking some of these out that relate to the networking part of what I'm going to be talking about today. So first of all, manage the cost. When you're doing networking, there's always a cost aspect in it. It's not free. There's the travel, there's your time, there's the board at hotels. So you've got to manage your costs and realize your worth in that. Is it worth it? Is the network going to give you some sort of like influence a projection out of actually doing this? Is your time and the actual target audience going to be the right ones for you to get a return of return of investment? So you got to think about these, and you can chunk this down, organize it, and then I always talk about getting it started, tasking it out, etc. So I'm not going to go over these in detail, but I'm talking about networking, how you can utilize the same system within networking. But it's really important that you need to have that in your forefront, because if you're going to do networking on a higher level with bigger entrepreneurs, there's a bigger cost. There's plane rides, there's event costs. It's not just the odd online thing. So you have to be aware of that. There is a cost. So the audience, I call it the audience time. This is broken down into your target audience, how you interrogate them, you mix things up. That's like split testing funnels for your audience, how you can educate your audience on why you're the best person to serve them. So I break this all down in my audience system. And I think you all need to have exactly a similar thing. So again, I'm going to skip through this because it's not entirely, we haven't got enough time to really go through this in detail. But then you want to generate the click, like that's literally generate the click, the sale, the call to action. I've got the click as the acronym, but I'm talking about clarity, logistics, investment, the creation of things. So how can you generate the click? Clarity is like, what's your message? Is it clear? The logistics, how are you going to distribute this? Is it going to go on different social medias? Is it going to go on leaflets? Is it going to go on networking? Your investment, how much you put into advertisement? How much you put into organic investment? Your time investment? How you create things? How artistic are you going to be in your creation? Are you doing a combined creation with like colleagues of yours? Is there a combined sort of like alliance, like an affiliation? And also, do you have the knowledge, or can you share other people's knowledge to actually, be clear on how you can generate clicks? How do people click the button to actually generate clicks? So, excuse me. So I talk about the clarity, the logistics, the investment, etc. Excuse me. I'll just go through that. The creation and the knowledge. So product knowledge is basic, essential skill of the business. You need to know this. I'm speaking super fast because there's a lot more content to go through. But you're getting the idea of what I'm trying to say to you. You need to have a form of a system. And I'll break it down even simpler in a very short graphic. So I've gone through that again. I've gone backwards for some reason. Let me go back. Excuse me about this. So an example of this is like know your network. And I talk about how you can use your network to propel yourself and get leads. And this is what this main talk is about. So for me, a couple of years ago, I spoke on stage to 500 people. I was at the same stage, David Goggins, Pete Vargas, who looks just like Frank, I think, Charlene Johnson, these great people. Previous years, there was Gary Vaynerchuk on the same stage. We've had Grant Cardone, some great people. So I spoke on there, and it was about lead generation, how to be extraordinary. It was chatbots as well, talking about automation and stuff like that. And I used that networking opportunity to actually spread more business and generate clicks. And the way I did that was using a QR code on stage. I didn't sell. I actually just gave value. I stacked things up. I don't like the hard sell stuff. I just gave value, and I gave a free product, and I gave someone even won a £5,000 product from me. That was an offer service. I have a podcast called Mic Drops Up Close. This is another way you can utilize for networking, create a podcast. I've had great people like Eric Sagado, Neil Patel is one of the best marketers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Brad Lee, there's lots of others. I'm relaunching that this year because I took a bit of time out because I had a bit of an illness myself for a good while. So I'm relaunching that this year. Again, so I'm going to get some great, amazing entrepreneurs on that. But having a podcast is really important because it's all about this networking, building authority, and being able to share your message. And the Mic Drops Up Close is about, mic drops, literally industry mic drops, up close with experts, and I don't actually alienate people that are not just famous. I have all sorts of people on there, so I like to interview many different levels. It's all about people that inspire me, so that's what I talk. I don't like to put levels and barriers and stuff in place. For me, it's all about the content and the value that you give to the people. So I spoke on stage, and I just want to talk to you about, like, it's important to connect, you know, and when you use influencer marketing, you're doing that just by the networking. So you can serve directly from stage the right way. And I talked about earlier, not having a big BS stack. I mean, I've had people on stage where they have, you know, join my group worth £10 million, plus join this WhatsApp group, which is worth £5 billion, plus, you know, get my free, you know, 2-level chatbot, which is worth 200. There's too much BS selling out there. The values are fake. So what I did is I underestimated my value, my stack. So things I gave away, I underestimated it, and I even gave it away, because what happened then, that I had an influx of people sign up to my system that allowed me to be able to serve them in my groups and in my network in a different way. So for me, I think you can be influential through networking, and you don't have to charge, and you can still get a return on investment the right way. So so choose the right niche. For me, I call it wave marketing. You don't have to have, you know, a specific message, but you have to have a clear message. So for me, I am a funnels guy, and funnels is quite a generic, it's an umbrella term. There's many forms of funnels. There's a marketing funnels, which are literal funnels like bridge funnels, you know, webinar funnels. And then there's the psychology of funnels, the way you talk to people on the phone. And there's other forms of funnels. There's many entry points. Your email signature can be a funnel. You can have a link to your network, to your courses, to your programs from your email signature. You know, so think of your, like, you know, your entry points for your business, and so you want to reach its viability. You know, set up everything that you've got around that niche that you want to work with. For me, I'm known as the funnels coach, because it's a generic word, but I focus on leads and magnetizing people to me. I don't have to put ads out there. I've got enough business as things are without me pushing out there, if that makes sense. I don't have to push. And for me, I prefer it that way with my circumstances with my son. I don't like taking a lot of work on. I take what I need to take on, and that keeps me happy. So you can create these basic things that I've got set up here, you know, SEO, content, generate leads, all that sort of stuff. But for me, wave marketing is really important in the sense of, I think of a wave that comes in different heights. It doesn't matter whether it's a big wave or a low wave, they will still erode the rock. Enough of it will erode the rock. It's about consistency. So for me, a large wave is going live or doing a networking event, right? That's a large wave. You're doing a big impact. A small wave still helps, could be an image post with no content. It could be a short email, short form email. You know, a larger wave might be a long form email. You know, so it doesn't matter. Some people say, oh, I can't get out there, I haven't got enough time. It doesn't matter whether you're doing lives constantly every day. I don't buy into the whole Gary Vee stuff where you have to like post 10 billion times a day on every social media. I think just stick to what you can do, but just make sure you keep wave marketing in your mind. The high and the low waves will still make an impact. It just might take longer. So that's how I see it. Please let me know if I'm near time. So for me in the networking, we've got the location, offline, online, and then the key is how you connect it. So positioning, the offline. So there's networking in different ways. The location could be a live event. Positioning could be with influencer marketing. Offline could be through actual networking through, offline could be like literally natural networking in live networks, or even a traditional post advertisement. Online could be like we're doing right now, as an example. And the key success factors is how you combine all that to create this brand to magnetize leads for you. And I'll give you a quick example of that in a bit. So let me just go back up. So you want to make sure in all your messaging, you've got the problem, you then understand the problem, you explain that there's an element of help, you know your audience, and you share a solution, how to solve it. And I really think in this day and age, this is the phase part of my acronym, you need to entertain. It's not enough to just give value. You need to entertain. There needs to be an element of lightheartedness. I joke about myself that I'm bold. It's Easter. People recognize me because of my head and I look like an Easter egg. But, you know, at the end of the day, when I'm out and about, I can have a big gap from networking and people still recognize me here in the UK anyway, probably because I'm bold, you know, because I was out there quite a lot in previous years. But my point is, I don't take myself too seriously to make fun of myself. Even if it was like talking about earlier, I'm punching above my weight with my wife, for instance, in that photo, and there's a lot of weight. But my point is, you know, you need to entertain in your marketing, in your messaging, whether it be the email messaging, because that's really important to get people to connect on the emotional side of things, you know. Here's like an area, because I work in industry in a niche of property investing, real estate. So for me, you can connect all these dots up. It's the funnel. And you can look at the characters. This could be tenants or landlords. Their challenges, like I mentioned about the problem. Their motivations. What are their motivations to buy from you? Or it might be in this type, you know, accommodation, or the landlord's tired. They want to sell the business, the property, the real estate. And then setting, how you connect that. How do you communicate with them to make that work for them? And you need to understand your brand or the perception of your brand from others. What does your brand look like to others? You know, the product or service you're utilizing and giving is important, you know, to share your network, to attract leads. So you have to be clear on all these. The process and strategies, this little diagram I've shown as an example here. Communication's key. You've got to be clear and networking effectively. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest mistake that people have is lack of engagement because they don't network. For instance, they might put all the effort in a post, but they don't actually respond to people in the post. So, you know, that's not networking effectively. You've got to do it effectively. So the problem, that phase is here. You talk about identifying your target market, how you can help, you know, identifying the audience enough, how you can selling is about solving customers' problems. This is all important. These need to be in your email marketing. They need to be in your funnels. They need to be in your networking live events that you talk about, you know, and you can sustain. So I've just gone through another process that you can use using automation. And I'm going to skip out of here and just show you, and I'll go through other areas of this analysis, blah, 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 channels. This goes down into sort of like the social media, how you can be creative, real time, that's live stuff, testing stuff out in split testing. But I'm going through these really fast because I haven't got a lot of time, because I want to go and show you actually an example with Builderall.
You're good.
So if I go to...
You're good.
Sorry, yeah, good. There's going to be 2 minutes on this, just to give you an example on Builderall. So I want to quickly share my screen. Excuse me. So in Builderall, I use the booking system, and I plant this everywhere, literally. It's on my business cards. I've got it on my business cards here. I've got it on my business cards here. I've got it in my emails with the ones, you know, I've got them in my Instagram, etc. I've got it everywhere. The key thing is I talked about communication, how you network effectively, but let's just say someone picks a date here, right? What you've got is the main information. You've got to remember your questions through. The great thing about Builderall, it's better than Calendly and other competitors out there. You can build so many different levels to it. You can make it however you like, but you need to close the customer, the client, before they even get on the call and waste your time. So here, I've written, and I'll just zoom in, respecting our time. Do you agree you will respect our time and turn up to the meeting you want to schedule? This is important psychology here, yes or no. They're acknowledging that they're going to do that. What are you struggling on most? How many years have you been in business? This is information for yourself. Please write your social media handles. This is for your research. What areas are you looking for support in? How can you serve them? Where did you hear about us? This is all about importance on the analytics you need to build up. If necessary, are you able to get access to funding? This is important, and you shouldn't be shy about asking this. If we decide it is a good fit, so after our call, if we decide this is a good fit, have you got access to the funding? Before making business decisions, is there anyone else you like to consult with? Your wife, your business partner, etc. If it makes sense to get coaching consulting services from us, how soon are you looking to get started? So some people say, yeah, I'm really interested, but not just yet. 6 months on. That's a sort of, that's almost like they're saying no. Does that make sense? So it's really important to understand that you have the questions that you need to understand and get clear beforehand, but you're also creating the setting before you meet up, and that networking effectively to create leads. This is part of it. So it's not just doing the live events. It's not just, it's in your booking app. It's in your email messaging. It's all in that. For me, I've got clients that I do stuff that's recurring. They're just like set clients. So I might charge $3,000 a month to just, maintain their stuff that I've created before. And that's clients for me. And it all comes and starts off with something like this. Yeah. I've got a bigger list that's in an email form that goes over 47 questions. It goes deeper, to find out more. So I just wanted to just discuss that and explain why networking is really important. And I'm sorry I had to rush through a lot of that, but I didn't want to go too, because you can go all these levels, especially the acronyms. There's so many levels I could break into just in networking. So yeah, that's how you magnetize yourself in networking, and you can use strategic communication to effectively sell and get more money and leads. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, listen, just as I mentioned, man, you're a humble guy. I know this because, you're talking and questioning kind of the value, and you're definitely delivering the goods because they're loving it. Great questions to ask up front is what Judy asked or says with regards to the questions that you just kind of went over, which is a great filtering system. Absolute great way to filter, and better spend your time. Right? Better get a better response. So really good stuff, man. So many golden nuggets. I tell you, Mike has got to come back, and we hope that he does. And so again,
come back a bit.
No way. Hey, so if you guys got questions for Mike, don't forget to tag Mike. Tag him, that way he can follow up with your questions and kind of get back with you on some of the stuff that he went through, because there are a lot of great acronyms, but really good stuff on how he broke that down. Definitely a good way to expand on curiosity. He's got me curious to learn more. So with that, hey, now to share some exciting news. Thank you, Mike, for that. We greatly appreciate you taking some time. I know it's been a chunk out of your busy day. So we greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you, Michael, for sharing an amazing part of your life, the true motivation and purpose behind the strategy and success of your growing business. There's absolutely no wonder why you're a fan favorite. Keep the goods coming, and thank you again for sharing. In the comments below, don't forget to show some love for Mike Calasparas, like this video, and remember to subscribe to our Builderall YouTube channel. Now, if you want to share your story, your business tips, tricks, and strategies, don't forget to reach out to me on Facebook. I look forward to helping you share it with the rest of the world. Now, on to this week's quote that centers around the encouragement of stepping outside of your comfort zone and facing the obstacles of fear. Do one thing every day that scares you, by Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, for those who are curious about Builderall and want to learn more, simply click on the link in the description and join the thousands of entrepreneurs that make up one amazing community who are now building their business bigger and better with Builderall. Hey, that's my time, everyone. I'm Frank Jimenez. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you again next week.